Developing right now on Morning News Now, a government shutdown now all but certain. This morning, Congress at a crossroads with two separate spending bills working their way through the House and Senate, but each destined to fail in the opposite chamber. Now time's running out for House Speaker Kevin McCarthy to get his own party to agree on a plan. We'll bring you the latest on the closed-door talks as the deadline approaches. Plus, it's a race for second place ahead of the 2024 election. Donald Trump's top Republican rivals slamming the former president at last night's second GOP debate.
Donald Trump is missing in action. He should be on this stage tonight.
You're not here tonight because you're afraid of being on the stage and defending your record.
Trump choosing to skip the debate again, and this time meet with auto workers instead. We're going to have highlights from the debate stage to the campaign trail. New this morning, U.S. soldier Travis King back on American soil, months after running across the border into North Korea. More on his condition, his status with the military, and what is next. And indebted, student loan repayments set to restart in just days after a 3-year pause. What borrowers need to know, plus the latest in the fight for student debt forgiveness.
Good morning. Thanks for being here. I'm Stephen Romo in for Savannah Sellers.
And I'm Joe Fryer. We begin this morning with limbo in Washington as we inch closer to a potential government shutdown with little progress being made on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, the government will shut down at 12:01 a.m. Sunday if they don't reach a deal, something that looks increasingly likely. There is a procedural vote expected in the Senate today to move forward on a temporary government funding bill that would postpone a shutdown until November, but the outlook for that is not great. The bipartisan measure has been criticized by House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who is having a lot of trouble with his own party on reaching a deal. He, however, is blaming Democrats and President Biden for a lack of a resolution. President Biden saying he doesn't believe a shutdown is inevitable. McCarthy saying House Republicans are still working on it.
The House is working on passing 73% of all the appropriation bills of the job we're supposed to do by Thursday. We're bringing up on Friday ability to fund the government, but at the same time secure our border. So yes, we're doing our job.
NBC News congressional correspondent Julie Sirkin joins us now with the latest on this. Julie, good morning to you. So break it down for us. What kind of movement can we expect to see today in the Senate regarding this stopgap bill trying to make its way through that chamber? Outlook not so good.
Yeah, not so good, guys. We're just days away. Look, the clock is ticking. And even if the Senate manages to get this CR, this short-term government funding bill, which we believe they will, through the Senate, you heard from McCarthy there, he's probably not going to put it on the floor. He wants his own bill, a conservative measure that has border security provisions attached to it, to ride through the House. The problem is, I talked to multiple members last night. It's still not clear if he has the votes for even that bill. So McCarthy right now still contending with members of his own party to get anything through to them. Of course, then it has to go over to the Democrat-controlled Senate and vice versa before anything can be signed by President Biden. So for our viewers watching this at home, both chambers are still having trouble passing their individual bills. Ultimately, this will need to come to a resolution that could pass both chambers, but we're still quite far from that.
So, Julie, we know House Speaker McCarthy suggested a meeting with President Biden would be important. The White House rejected that idea, saying the issue is really up to Republicans to fix. So what are the biggest challenges McCarthy's facing right now in the House?
Yeah, look, President Biden has made it clear he's probably not going to sit down with the speaker. He met with him and his team back during those debt ceiling negotiations at the end of May. This is really something that Biden is saying is McCarthy's problem. It's his problem with his members and his conference to figure out. McCarthy touched on this yesterday. Take a listen to what he said, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Has the Senate passed an FAA bill? No, they have not. When we look at a challenge on the border, have they passed any bill themselves? They're a different body on something to deal with the border, even though the leader from the Senate comes from New York and his governor and mayor are crying for something to be done. No, they've done nothing on it, because had they passed a bill, the House has passed a bill, we could go to conference and solve that.
So there's no time to go to conference between both sides, right? We heard this time and time again. McCarthy wants basically the Senate and the House to get together and to talk about these individual bills that they passed. We have just days left. And on the border security issue, that's something you hear from Republicans a lot. I talked to a top House Democrat yesterday who told me that what Republicans want to attach in terms of border security is, quote, not real border security. And the White House is also making the argument that if a shutdown happens, Border Patrol agents could go unpaid. And what Republicans are planning to do does cut some of the budget that the Department of Homeland Security would have to operate. So really a stalemate here, an impasse on both sides. But ultimately, McCarthy's going to have to show that he can get something passed with just his members.
And Julie, let's talk about the perspective of Americans who will be affected by this potential shutdown. Who's winning the PR battle here? Who do you think will take the blame if this happens?
Well, historically, guys, Republicans do fall for the blame when a shutdown happens. The last shutdown, you'll remember, lasted more than a month under the former president. In 2019, there was a new poll that came out. You see it on your screen where voters are kind of split. They are blaming Biden and Democrats in Congress for this as well, because ultimately Democrats drew control of the White House and the upper chamber of the Senate. But look, this would really be devastating for millions of Americans. You showed a graphic earlier when we were talking here. I mean, millions of Americans will go without paychecks. Million more of low-income Americans won't have food stamps, won't have critical child care programs. And look, we have a lot of authorizations that are up at the month, too, like the FAA, for example, various child care tax credits, some COVID relief measures that were put in place. So a lot on the line here and not a lot of time to fix it.
Certainly that clock is ticking down. Julie, we have more congressional news to talk about, though, so stick with us just a minute.
Yeah, this morning, while a possible government shutdown looms over Capitol Hill, House Republicans are holding their first hearing into whether to impeach President Biden.
Yeah, Democrats have been asking for evidence of President Biden's potential wrongdoing. Republicans say that's the purpose of this hearing. They're going to present evidence, they say, from their months-long investigations into whether Biden was involved in or personally profited from his family's foreign business dealings. They also investigated whether he improperly influenced policy when he served as vice president. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer says Republicans, quote, uncovered an overwhelming amount of evidence showing that President Joe Biden abused his public office for his family's financial gain. But so far, there's been no direct evidence to prove those allegations. And the White House insists Biden has done nothing wrong. They're calling today's hearing a political stunt.
So let's bring back Julie Sirkin along with NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos here to weigh in on all this. Julie, what are we watching for today in this hearing?
Well, look, I'm personally watching for Republicans to make the case, make the connection that they've been talking about over and over again between Hunter Biden, the president's son, and the president himself. Because remember, the president's the one that they are opening this impeachment inquiry to. So far, they have been unable to prove this connection between his son's business dealings and the president's influence, if he had any over those. But they did release this 30-page memo late last night. They sent it, I'm told, to all members on the committee as well, outlining their goal for today. And they make it very clear this is coming from Republicans. They open this impeachment inquiry, but it doesn't mean that they're going to pursue a formal impeachment until they are ready to lay out this evidence, which they say they have an overwhelming amount of, enough to potentially fill 7 hours today, with 50 members on these committees set to question 4 witnesses, 3 from the Republican side, 1 from the Democrat side. But ultimately, even though they've led this investigation for 7 months, as we've heard from the top Democrat on the Oversight Committee, James Raskin, say, they haven't been able to put proof in the pudding, right? They haven't been able to connect all of these dots that they've been laying out. But we'll see if they can try to make the case today. Overall, though, I'm expecting just evidence to be laid out, much of which we already know.
And potentially filling 7 hours, Danny. Let's get to you on this. We've heard about these allegations for such a long time now. What do we know about the evidence Republicans say they have or they claim to have here?
2 main categories: foreign business dealings and Hunter Biden tax cases. And of course, with both categories, Hunter Biden features prominently. Certainly, there's a strong case to be made for impeachment of Hunter Biden, but Hunter Biden is not the president, nor was he the vice president. So plenty of evidence to be concerned about Hunter Biden. The foreign business dealings, you're going to see likely evidence of transactions with Kazakhstan, China, even Ukraine, of course, Russia as well. But the key is this. Irrespective of these financial transactions, these business dealings, the key is a nexus between those dealings and some benefit to President Biden, to Joe Biden. That is the key. And I think the Republicans are going to need a lot more than evidence that maybe Joe Biden was on a phone call or that he stopped by lunch to say hi to some of Hunter Biden's business associates. They may have evidence of that, but for corruption purposes, they're going to need more. On the tax side, it's whether or not Hunter Biden, did he receive favorable treatment? We may or may not see evidence of that during the 7 hours today. Did the government, the U.S. government under Joe Biden, give preferential treatment to Hunter Biden? Kind of a hard case to make now because Hunter Biden is now under indictment, but that we may see given some of the hearings of some former tax investigators in the last few months. But most likely, the big case Republicans want to make is foreign business dealings, and they're going to try to tie some benefit that leads to Joe Biden, the then vice president, current president.
So, Julie, politically, what are the implications for President Biden and his reelection campaign?
Well, look, this is effectively counter-programming that Speaker McCarthy has set up, right? It's to counter these Trump indictments, to counter all of these things that are coming down the pike for the former president as they look to protect him here, and certainly ahead of this shutdown as well. But for the president himself, his son, as Danny laid out, is facing an indictment now by the Justice Department. Republicans on the committee would argue that this is thanks to them, thanks to the evidence that they were able to lay out, although they are not satisfied with the prosecutor, the special counsel who has been appointed to look into that matter. But this certainly doesn't bode well politically for the president, because this keeps this on the minds of Americans who are seeing this happen with the former president and everything that Biden was able to point out there. And it's happening to Biden now, in effect, right? It is certainly the Republicans have not been able to prove this connection, but it is in the news cycle. We're talking about it. We're going to take this hearing today. And Biden wants to talk about his economic message, the progress he was able to make, the legislation he was able to pass, which, as our White House team has reported and noted, is not resonating as much as he wants to with voters.
And Danny, to Julie's point, we've seen several impeachment inquiries over the past several years. So how long is this expected to take, and what's next for Republicans if they go down this road further?
Even though impeachment cosmetically looks like a criminal prosecution and a criminal investigation, we need to stop thinking of it that way, because in many ways it is exactly the opposite. For example, if you want to indict someone, you have to go to a grand jury and show them evidence to at least probable cause to secure that indictment. Here, none of those rules are required. Even this inquiry is not required. The House could immediately proceed to impeachment proceedings if they have the votes, because that's really what impeachment is. It's not a criminal proceeding. It's basically a debate in Congress, one that happens to be identified in the Constitution. But all it is a head count. Do we have enough for this vote? Do we have enough for this vote if it gets to the Senate? That is it. So procedurally, this can last as long as they want it to, or not at all.
Danny, thank you so much. Julie, we are setting you free. You do not have to stick around for yet another segment.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Last night in California, 7 Republican candidates locked horns in another fiery GOP primary debate moderated by Fox Business. The rivals clashed over a variety of topics, including China, immigration, and the economy.
But the chaotic, often raucous event was marked by the absence of Donald Trump. The former president and current GOP frontrunner decided to visit Detroit instead. That move was criticized by some of the candidates last night.
Donald Trump is missing in action. He should be on this stage tonight. He owes it to you to defend his record, where they added $7.8 trillion to the debt. That set the stage for the inflation that we have.
His last debate, he said we were all bought and paid for. And I thought about that for a little while and said, you know, I can't imagine how you could say that knowing that you were just in business with the Chinese Communist Party and the same people that funded Hunter Biden millions of dollars was a partner of yours as well. It's not nonsense.
When every other CEO expanded into the Chinese market, you know what I did with my first company? We opened a subsidiary in China. But you know what I did that was different than every other company? We got the hell out of there. And when I started my next company, Strive.
Donald, I know you're watching. You can't help yourself. I know you're watching. You're afraid of being on this stage and defending your record. You're ducking these things. And let me tell you what's going to happen. You keep doing that, no one up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore. We're going to call you Donald Duck.
Joe Biden doesn't belong on a picket line. He belongs on the unemployment line.
Secondly, on the curtains, do your homework, Ted, because Obama bought those curtains.
Did you send them back?
It's in the press.
Did you send them back?
It's the State Department.
Did you send them back?
Did you send them back? You're the one that works in Congress.
Oh my gosh.
You get it
You
done.
hung them on your curtains.
They were there before I even showed up at the residence. You are scrapping. You are scrapping.
I'm not scrapping.
You know I fought.
Fiery over curtains. Who would have predicted that? Well, joining us now for more on this, NBC News correspondent Maura Barrett and our senior national politics reporter John Allen. Good morning to both of you. Maura, let's start with you. As we just heard, there was plenty of arguing, a lot of talking over each other. What are some of the key takeaways from the debate? Did anyone manage to stand out from the pack?
Yeah, good morning. A lot of interruption, a lot of confusion on the stage last night. And it's tough to say whether or not there was really a standout candidate. It's probably better contextualized by some standout moments from several candidates, one of which, Tim Scott, there we saw a more outspoken candidate in him because he really needed to push forward. His campaign had telegraphed that prior to the debate. We also saw those moments from Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, Haley's campaign prior to the debate had told me that they expected her to be a target of attacks on stage, seeing that she had seen some big spikes in polling prior to the debate, but she was actually more on the offense, doling out the most attacks on stage last night, according to NBC News analysis. And Vivek Ramaswamy was actually on the receiving end of more of those attacks, a lot of those exchanges like you just saw around his relationship with China. Now, as for the presumed second place candidate, Ron DeSantis, we saw those polls slip in his name following the last debate, and he didn't really have anything that really stood out last night separately. And so it remains to be seen if that'll be the case after this debate as well. Now, of course, obviously, the whole Donald Trump of it all looming as he was not on stage, but still racing ahead in the polls. This debate did give the candidates another chance before this next fundraising deadline to potentially get more donor support and be able to get some more longevity in the race ahead as they continue to go up against Donald Trump. But that remains to be seen in these next couple of days to see what that support looks like, guys.
So, John, if there was anything memorable from Governor DeSantis, is that he did take aim at Trump for missing the debate again. So did Chris Christie. That was less of a surprise. Beyond that, not much criticism directed at the former president. So is that going to have even an inch of impact on GOP voters? And do you think that Trump could show up for the next one, which is just over a month away?
I talked to a Republican strategist last night, Matthew Bartlett out of New Hampshire, who said that these attacks were like attacking the sun with water guns, that Christie and DeSantis were likely to have little effect on Trump at all, little effect on voters with what they said. Trump is definitely in a position right now where he doesn't want to debate. I think, until further notice, you can expect that he's not going to debate. Right now, you showed those polling figures. He's at 59% in the Republican primary, according to the NBC News polling. DeSantis is at 16%. Everybody else is below that. I don't think there's a political advisor in the country that would tell their candidate that in that circumstance that they should get on a debate stage.
And, John, speaking of Nikki Haley, as Maura was saying, she went on the offense last night. She got a lot of attention from the first debate performance. And last night we saw her clash with Tim Scott and Vivek Ramaswamy. She's coming in third in that latest NBC News poll. But after last night, DeSantis, should he be looking over his shoulder?
In one word, yes. But that's not the only thing that Maura said that was really insightful. She made a lot of good points a moment ago. I think if you're Ron DeSantis, you got to be looking over your shoulder at everybody. Mostly if you're DeSantis, you have to be worried that your donors, that your supporters are going to dry up or that some of them are going to go to another candidate. DeSantis has long been running in second place, but his trajectory has been almost entirely downhill for the last, 6 or 7 months. And you've got a situation where Nikki Haley is one of the few candidates who's shown any sort of movement upward. Since that last debate, you've seen her poll numbers at the national level go up. More importantly, you've seen her numbers go up within the states. So the early states of Iowa and New Hampshire, and her own home state of South Carolina. This is a candidate who definitely was on the move before this debate. And I don't think she did anything last night that will arrest that upward movement.
So, Maura, where does this leave the GOP field? Could we see any dropouts, or does it seem like everyone here is going to hang on till at least Iowa?
Well, as for now, the campaigns are pushing ahead. Several candidates like Ramaswamy and Haley already planning visits to early states in the next couple of days. But I think what we're going to have to watch over the next month before the next debate is that the increased qualifying threshold to get on that debate stage. It was a struggle for North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum to even make the stage last night. Didn't really stand out, and he'll really have to push ahead to make sure he can qualify again. I actually spoke with Ramaswamy ahead of the debate yesterday, and he basically hedged his bet, saying you know, if the voters don't align with me, if they choose to pick somebody else, I'm okay with that. But he didn't give any sort of timeline. And so campaigns right now are projecting that optimism as they get back out on the campaign trail, looking for any potential spikes in polling and fundraising numbers. But again, they have a little bit of time ahead of that next November 8th debate, guys.
All right, Maura, John, thank you both so much.
An American soldier who fled into North Korea is now back in the United States. Private First Class Travis King landed early this morning after being expelled by North Korea. He dashed across the border into North Korea back in July. NBC News foreign correspondent Janice Mackey-Frayer has the latest.
Travis King is finally home, touching down on American soil after a secretive exit from North Korea. 71 days after the Army Private Second Class made that willing bolt across the border, he was escorted into China, where U.S. officials were waiting, taken into U.S. military custody, from all accounts in good health. U.S. officials say no concessions were made to North Korea, nor did North Korea ask for anything in return for Private King's release, despite ongoing U.S. sanctions and threats over the country's weapons program. Instead, North Korea took it as a case of illegal immigration, releasing a statement through KCNA saying that officials had decided to expel Travis King. Now, to get him out, Private King, who's 23, had to be retrieved by the government of Sweden, which keeps an embassy in Pyongyang, and then was shepherded across a bridge by car into China, a rare show of cooperation between the U.S. in Beijing at North Korea's request. A spokesperson here today confirming, quote, China provided the necessary assistance from a humanitarian perspective. From China, Private King was then flown to a U.S. base in South Korea. That's where he called his mother. And he will now be at the Brooke Army Medical Center for what's called post-isolation support. Travis King could still face disciplinary action in the U.S. for being absent without leave. There will also be a slew of questions about what happened in North Korea and what compelled him to do what he did. But for now, U.S. officials say that they are focused on Travis King's health and reuniting him with his family.
All right, Janice Mackey-Frayer, thank you so much.
New Jersey Democratic Senator Bob Menendez is expected to address Senate Democrats at their party's lunch today. This comes one day after he and his wife pleaded not guilty in connection with federal bribery charges. They were arraigned yesterday in a Manhattan courtroom. NBC's Jonathan Dienst has the latest on the case and the calls for the senator to step down.
We have a few words with you. Holding hands with his wife Nadine, New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez left federal court to a crush of cameras and a handful of protesters. Earlier, Menendez, his wife, and two businessmen pleaded not guilty to charges they took part in a wide-ranging bribery scheme. The FBI says Senator Menendez and his wife got these gold bars, piles of cash, and a Mercedes in exchange for government favors. The senator released on $100,000 bail, his wife on $250,000. Sources familiar with the matter say the FBI is investigating if Egyptian intelligence services played any role in the alleged bribe scheme in an effort to get non-public U.S. government information from Menendez, then chair of the Foreign Relations Committee. Meanwhile, President Biden still silent on the Menendez case, while the number 2 Democrat in the Senate, Dick Durbin, added his name to the growing list of Democrats calling for Menendez to resign. Top Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer criticizing Menendez, but not calling on him to step down.
For senators, there's a much, much higher standard. And clearly, when you read the indictment, Senator Menendez fell way, way below that standard.
Our thanks to Jonathan Dienst for that report. More than half the Senate Democratic caucus has now called for Menendez to resign.
In Baltimore, police are confirming an arrest in the murder of 26-year-old tech entrepreneur Pavel Lepere. Police say they will hold a news conference at 11 a.m. Eastern time to announce the arrest of 32-year-old Jason Billingsley. Police found Lepere's body at an apartment late Monday morning with apparent blunt force trauma. Police and the U.S. Marshals Service immediately launched a manhunt for Billingsley, and a first-degree murder warrant was issued for his arrest. Authorities say Billingsley was also wanted in connection with an unrelated attempted murder and rape earlier this month.
All right, switching gears to weather now. You probably want to keep those umbrellas handy if you're in the East Coast.
Yeah, meteorologist Angie Lassman is here with more umbrella news. Angie.
I'm sorry. I know it's not what you want to hear, but we're still going to have mainly a dry day in places like New York City today. It'll start to be a little soggier here as we get to the end of our day. So into the evening hours and definitely into the overnight and into tomorrow. So here's the deal. Here's what's going on. We have some thunderstorms that we're tracking leading to some flooding concerns across parts of the Midwest. So heads up about that. We're still dealing with kind of unsettled weather across Florida, but now we're going to watch this low pressure kind of form up the southeast coast and leave us with some showers and some breezy conditions up and down, really from the mid-Atlantic to parts of New England. So here's the deal as we get into tomorrow. This is 8 p.m. Friday. You can see some of these spots are going to be heavy rain. So we're talking high rainfall rates. Once again, we know how saturated our grounds are in a lot of these spots. So we'll likely see the potential for some flooding as well. The good news is we're going to start to see this pull away by the time we get into the later parts of Saturday. We're still going to be quite soggy for Saturday, too. Sunday will be a great day in that region. So you'll still have some time this weekend to get those outdoor plans in, and the temperatures look great in some spots, too. Here's those rainfall totals by the time we get into Saturday. You can see some really impressive amounts, up to 5 inches possible in some spots, but likely widespread numbers are going to be closer to 1 to 2 inches. But again, we've already had plenty of rain over the past couple of weeks, so it wouldn't be surprising if we see some of these flood watches going up in some of these spots. These are the areas with the greatest concern for flash flooding. So heads up, places like Montauk, New York, Monroe, Atlantic City, all on the table for you as we get through at least tomorrow. Now, we're going to see some strong onshore winds too, and we've got a full moon, so no surprise if we see some minor to moderate coastal flooding. Notice how many people are influenced by this. 15 million people under these alerts at this time, so heads up about that. Now, out with the bad news. Let's talk about the good news, because we've got a harvest supermoon that happens tonight. Here's what you're going to want to do. You look to the east, and just about 2 hours after sunset, we'll have a pretty good kind of start to our overnight hours and into the early morning where you can catch this. You're also going to be able to see Jupiter and Saturn. East, southeast, there's the moon. It's going to be full, and this is actually our last supermoon of 2023. So this is the last of the 4 that we've seen. Typical year has about 3 to 4, so right on par for that. But if you want to catch one in 2023, tonight is going to be the night that you want to do that. And just a reminder, that happens when the moon is in the closest orbit when it is full. So it's going to be great in some spots, right? Let's talk about those spots that it's going to be great, actually. Middle of the country, really starry night. You've got mostly clear skies expected. Super viewing out towards the southwest. The spots that are going to be a little iffy, parts of the Midwest, you'll see some stormy conditions up into portions of the northern plains. Out into the Pacific Northwest, too, you're going to deal with those clouds and rain. And unfortunately, for parts of the Northeast, we'll have to deal with some clouds. And I told you that rain is going to be working in right around that time. So not great. But if you're in the middle of the country, right around 6 a.m. sunrise, you're going to have the best time to see that. So just a heads up there.
All right.
You see how I ended on a positive note for you guys? Yes. I don't want you to throw tomatoes at me. Umbrella news.
You're going to need to remove the umbrella to see the moon. So there you go.
You brought it right back to the umbrella.
Exactly. You did. I knew it.
Bookend. All right. Thank you, Angie. Appreciate it. Much more to come here on Morning News Now. After the break, a heartbreaking homecoming in Maui as families return to Lahaina after those devastating wildfires.
Plus, it's back to work for Hollywood writers. Details on the deal that brought an end to their months-long strike, including the big sticking point of artificial intelligence. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's been nearly 2 months since those massive, deadly wildfires ravaged Hawaii. Some of the people who live in hard-hit Lahaina are now returning home for the first time to get a look at what, if anything, is left of their homes. NBC News correspondent Sam Brock has the latest.
Finally, after waiting more than a month and a half, families from Lahaina are stepping over the broken pieces of their properties.
Right now, it just looks weird. It looks like out of a horror movie.
For Tawny Katayama and her 84-year-old grandmother Noreen, they braced for this moment hours earlier, but that didn't prepare them for the emotional floodwaters that followed.
This is the first time I'm going to see it, so it's pretty bad. After so many years of living here, I just can't say it.
With thousands of homes destroyed and families displaced, many came clad in PPE, unsure what they'd find.
There's no expectations to really find anything. anything that we can find, I feel like it's just going to be bonus.
Like the Vieras, whose parents moved to Lahaina in the 70s.
I think this is the only one that survived.
Yet even in all that rubble, treasures emerged. Like this pistol, an heirloom from their grandfather who served in the Maui Police Department almost a century earlier. Remnants of their lives recovered amidst so much that's been lost.
In your opinion, do you think a large percentage of the people who died, their lives could have been saved if things were done differently?
Definitely. Definitely. It is very regrettable, but definitely yes. That's my firm belief.
Sherman Thompson headed Hawaii's Civil Defense Advisory Council for years. After a 2018 fire nearly burnt down Lahaina, officials created a hazard mitigation plan that identified utility lines, roads, and bridges as particularly vulnerable, and the potential for residents to be trapped in Lahaina.
Was it your expectation after a mitigation plan like that emergency officials would have figured out what the escape plan would look like if something like this were to ever happen?
That would have been an almost obvious thing. How to properly mobilize or have mass evacuation taken place. You have to have order and a sense of escape routes and education of the general public.
The ATF is investigating the cause of the wildfires, and Hawaii's Attorney General has launched an independent investigation into the state and local responses. As residents finally seeing what's left of their homes, process and ponder what's next.
You think with two really good incomes, my husband and I, we'd be able to buy a house and, you know, give my children what they deserve, what I had, you know, growing up here. We had a home with a yard and a neighborhood, and it's not possible, you know, because of how expensive homes are.
An unsure future with a few mementos giving them strength in this raw moment.
Heartbroken for so many of those people there. Our thanks to Sam Brock for that report.
Many Hollywood writers are back at work after top union officials reached a deal with major movie studios and streamers to end their strike. That means many late-night talk shows will be back on air starting Monday. And one of the major parts of the new deal has to do with the use of artificial intelligence. NBC News national correspondent Miguel Almaguer has those details.
Putting down picket signs and picking up pens. Hollywood writers scripting their return to work. Securing a 12.5% pay raise over 3 years, writers also won staffing minimums on future projects. But perhaps most important, guardrails over the use of artificial intelligence. AI can't write or rewrite literary material. AI-generated material can't be used to undermine a writer's credit. And a company can't require the writer to use AI software.
It's hard to put guardrails on something that by the time those guardrails are laid down, the technology has already moved on.
The writers' deal could serve as a template for actors who are still on the picket line, as all of Hollywood looks to resume shuttered productions. But the use of AI is expected to eliminate the need for some actors and could replicate the look and sound of famous faces.
If you have a film or TV show that normally would have a dozen actors, maybe you could have 6 actors and a couple of digital actors for, in the background.
From Hollywood to Main Street to Middle America, the World Economic Forum predicts artificial intelligence and automation will cut 83 million jobs in 5 years. But Ty Sheraton says it'll also create new opportunities.
We need to come together to have conversations about it, further enlighten and educate ourselves on how it's being used, how we can incorporate it and adopt it into our workflow.
In Hollywood, when it comes to AI, art may be imitating life. Miguel Almaguer, NBC News.
Well, coming up, a state trooper now on the wrong side of the law after a violent encounter with a teenager. What we're learning about what happened from his own body camera.
And American Airlines under fire after a black passenger says he was accused of trafficking his own children. His story and how the airline is responding. Next on Morning News Now.
Welcome back. A Delaware state trooper is now facing charges after authorities say he brutally beat a teen who pulled a front door prank on his house. The incident captured on his body-worn camera. NBC News correspondent Kristen Dahlgren has that video. We do want to warn you, though, it is pretty disturbing to watch.
Prosecutors say it started with a prank, often called ding-dong ditch. In this case, a kick to the door before the teen runs away. But the house was that of a Delaware state trooper. And authorities say what happened next led to felony charges for Trooper Dempsey Walters.
It was his decision to enact his own form of personal justice.
Body cam video, blurred before it was released by authorities, appears to show Walters roughly taking down a teen named Al before tracking down the boy named Jaden seen in the doorbell video.
On the ground now.
Prosecutors say Dempsey turned off his body camera before punching the handcuffed 15-year-old seated in the back of the car. Other body cam angles captured Jaden crying out for help.
Mommy!
Sam Davis represents the families of both teens and provided these pictures of Jaden's injuries, including a broken eye socket.
It took 2 surgeons 8 hours to put plates and 11 screws and a piece of mesh to try to heal his broken face.
Walters was indicted under Delaware's new deprivation of civil rights law and pleaded not guilty. NBC News reached out to Walters and has not received a response.
As a mother and a grandmother, watching that video footage is very difficult. As a prosecutor, the constitutional violations I saw were stunning.
Walters has been suspended without pay, while his higher-ups offered this apology.
To the victims and their families impacted by the actions of Mr. Walters, I'm sorry.
Kristen Dahlgren, NBC News.
A musician is calling out American Airlines after he says a flight attendant called police over fears that he was trafficking his own kids. The dad in this case, David Ryan Harris, is a guitarist who's played with rock stars like Dave Matthews and John Mayer. He's black and his children are biracial. Harris says he and his kids were flagged after landing on a flight from Atlanta to L.A. because a flight attendant didn't think they looked enough alike to be related. NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky has that story.
Musician David Ryan Harris still reeling after he says he was reported to authorities by American Airlines for suspected child trafficking. All he was really doing? Flying with his 2 biracial children.
In Los Angeles, we were met at the top of the jetway by an AA employee, and there were 4 police officers there as well.
Harris has played with massive recording artists Dave Matthews and John Mayer. Shocked by the interaction, he posted a series of videos to social media.
Apparently, a flight attendant had called ahead with some sort of concern that perhaps my mixed children weren't my children because they were unresponsive during an interaction with her.
Harris says his 7-year-old child is just shy.
There was one maybe 30-second interaction with the flight attendant. And it seems to me that you should have to have a bit more to go on before you're able to call the police on someone.
He also says the airline could have easily verified his identity.
There's a flight manifest. They know people's names. I know there was internet on the plane. Any sort of Google search, you wouldn't have to dig very deep. You know, my Instagram page, if you'd gone there, you'd seen, pictures of me with those very same children.
We reached out to American Airlines, and they apologized for any misunderstanding that may have occurred, saying in part, "We strive to create a positive, welcoming environment for everyone who travels," adding that a member of their team has reached out to the customer to learn more and address their concerns.
The representative eventually did apologize.
As a former flight attendant, they are one of the first lines of defense in human trafficking, and they are trained to identify that.
But Sean Kathleen says that Harris's situation could have been handled better by the airline.
I thought that he brought up some really, really solid points, like, hey, check the manifest. So that would be a pretty, low lift.
Now Harris says he's turning his focus to advocacy, trying to find a way to prevent both human trafficking and experiences like his by doing things like checking children's IDs at airport check-in.
I do feel like that could have prevented this scenario from happening.
And our thanks to Morgan Chesky for that report. Coming up, student loan payments back on the calendar after a 3-year hiatus. What you need to know ahead of this Sunday's due date. Plus, a retail nightmare. Major chains are closing up shop, they say, after an alarming spike in thefts. More on the problem and what's being done about it. You're watching Morning News Now. We're back now with the latest on some drastic measures. Stores across the country say they are just closing up shop, and they're blaming violent crime like this looting spree in Philadelphia for those closures. NBC News Now anchor Tom Yamas has more.
More than 50 people are under arrest in connection with this overnight crime wave that hit Philadelphia. Officers tackling suspects ransacking businesses. Crowds of suspected thieves seen running from stores like Apple, Lululemon, and Foot Locker.
This is not shoplifting. This is looting. This is riot.
It's called organized retail theft. It's happening all over America, killing business and making shopping even more expensive. Target says crooks are forcing them to close 9 stores by October, saying theft is, quote, threatening the safety of our team and guests.
This Target in Oakland is one of the ones shutting down, and you can see what the shopping experience is like. You got deodorant, you have shaving cream, all locked up, even toothpaste. You have to call someone to help you buy one because of thieves.
But it's the crime outside of stores in Oakland that is terrifying residents. 10,000 cars stolen just this year. Burglaries and robberies also up. Last week, cameras captured this woman screaming in agony as thieves dragged her across the street, trying to steal her purse. It mirrors another incident earlier this month.
When you see crime like that during the day, what does that tell you?
It tells me that there's a sense of lawlessness, that there are people in our community that don't fear being arrested.
LaRon Armstrong was the latest Oakland police chief to be fired.
Is it a free-for-all when it comes to crime in Oakland?
I think it's a combination of lack of enforcement and then not strong enough prosecution.
And now residents of Oakland say they've had enough, closing their own businesses in protest of a city they say can't keep them safe.
Letting violent crime criminals out as soon as they're apprehended and booked does not lead to public safety.
I consider it a state of emergency. I've never seen Oakland this way before.
Residents now calling for new leadership, tougher laws, and a turnaround before crime cripples their city. Tom Yamas, NBC News, Oakland.
Now for what's making financial headlines, major fitness labels Peloton and Lululemon are coming together. CNBC's Silvana Henao joins us with that and more. Good morning, Silvana.
Hey, good morning to you, Stephen. Yeah, so Peloton and Lululemon are teaming up in a 5-year global partnership. Peloton will become the exclusive provider of digital fitness content for the yoga wear makers starting early next year. And Lululemon will be Peloton's primary partner for athletic apparel. Lululemon is also discontinuing its Mirror fitness device that features live and on-demand workouts, but has seen a slowdown in demand. Peloton has been pivoting away from hardware to become a software-first company. The Pentagon has awarded SpaceX the first contract for the Starshield network that the company is developing. It's a military-specific version of the Starlink satellite internet system. A spokesperson for the U.S. Space Force confirming SpaceX, which is run by Elon Musk, was given a 1-year contract earlier this month. The Pentagon is already a high-value buyer of SpaceX's rocket launches. And Costco sells everything you'd ever want, right? So from caskets, snow tires, and a giant tub of Nutella, well, add to the list 1-ounce gold bars, which the retail club says are selling out in just a few hours. Earlier this week, Costco's CFO confirmed the gold bars have been sold online from time to time, and they're limited to 2 per member. Gold is seen as a safe haven investment, and lingering worries about the economy and jewelry sales have helped prop up the price around $1,900 an ounce.
Wow, gold bars are surprising. Did you say caskets, though? Caskets?
Yeah, they sell caskets. Yes, they do. I've seen the brochures.
That's even more shocking to me. All right, learn something new every day from Silvana. Thank you so much.
Sure thing.
Well, after 3 years of a pandemic pause, federal student loan repayments are set to restart Sunday, 3 months after the Supreme Court struck down President Biden's student loan forgiveness program. Now, many people are facing thousands of dollars of debt, and they say they still have no way of paying it back. NBC News business and data reporter Brian Chung has more.
Josie Bridges is a single mom living paycheck to paycheck. It's hard enough dealing with rising prices at the store.
My student payments are sitting right now at about $400 is what they're expecting each month. So, I mean, that's my food budget right there.
The pandemic freeze on student loan payments allowed Josie to open up her own salon in Portland, Oregon. But with $4,000 in outstanding debt from her community college degree, she says she simply won't be able to make the payments once they resume in October.
It's kind of out of my hands at this point. If I can't make it, I can't make it.
It's a game changer.
The Biden administration's plan to forgive up to $20,000 in student debt would have wiped Josie's slate clean. Instead, a challenge from 6 Republican states resulted in a Supreme Court decision in June striking down the plan after Josie had already put thousands of dollars in investments into her salon.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future, and that's kind of scary.
The median student loan borrower has between $20,000 to $25,000 in outstanding student debt. Over 40 million borrowers had interest accrual restart this month, with the first payments in over 3 years due in just days. Economists like Brian Adams say it won't trigger a recession, but will weigh on those least able to bear it.
Anybody that is part of an underserved community, they tend to have higher debt than those that are not in underserved communities, and they tend to have lower incomes. So that's a potential issue.
It is officially time for a student loan repayment boycott.
Some borrowers taking to social media to urge others not to pay, like Maya Dawit, who owes over $15,000 and has no plans to pay in October.
They'll potentially garnish wages. Maybe they'll take from your tax refund. You know, good luck. I think I made like $10,000 this year, so you can have it all if you want it.
Education Secretary Miguel Cardona says missed payments won't immediately trigger garnished wages or credit score hits.
We know many of our borrowers are going to struggle to make payments, but we want to make sure that we're not sending their name to credit agencies. So we're going to hold them harmless for a year as they're getting back up.
Among longer-term options for relief, see if your employer offers repayment assistance programs and consider the SAVE program, which adjusts monthly bills based on borrowers' income. Josie's weighing her options, but says it's going to be tough either way.
At this moment, it's either come up with money to pay for these now student loans that I'm having to pay, or make it to where my business doesn't function as it needs to.
And our thanks to Brian Chung for that report. By the way, students who graduated in the spring, they get a little more time. They don't have to make payments until the grace period expires, which is usually 6 to 9 months after graduation. Well, coming up this morning, he is back on Earth after making some space history. When we come back, hear from astronaut Frank Rubio after spending more than a year out of this world, literally. The winner of last month's $1.6 billion Mega Millions jackpot has claimed that prize. It's the third largest jackpot in U.S. history, and a lucky ticket was bought at a public supermarket in Neptune Beach, Florida. Meanwhile, the Powerball jackpot has climbed to $925 million after no winner last night. That makes 30 consecutive drawings without a big winner, and I still forget to play each and every time.
I'm just relieved that I always get nervous that like someone bought the winning ticket and lost it and never knew.
That sounds like something I'd do.
That's a relief.
Yeah,
all right.
A relief there. Finally this hour, there is no place like home, especially for NASA astronaut Frank Rubio.
His 6-month mission turned into a record 371-day space odyssey after he got stuck in space. NBC's Tom Costello has his story.
Less than 1,000 meters from touchdown.
Frank Rubio wasn't supposed to set a new American space record. He would have rather been home, celebrating some big milestones in his 4 kids' lives. But finally,
touchdown confirmed at 6:17 a.m. Central Time. Rubio's record ride comes to an end.
He was safely back on planet Earth in Kazakhstan.
It's good to be home.
Rubio got stuck on the space station after his ride home, a Russian spaceship, was hit by space junk and sprang a coolant leak. A 6-month mission turned into 12 months while he waited for a replacement ship. The greatest challenge, he says, was psychological.
I think the most difficult one, again, is pretty easy, just the separation from family. That's been a challenge.
A year in space also carries unique health risks, increased radiation exposure, body fluids that shift to the head and cause vision changes. Muscle and bone loss in microgravity can lead to balance troubles back on Earth.
There's a lot of science that has to happen in the first few weeks, and then there's getting back to enjoying life.
Rubio is also a combat veteran and doctor who was vigilant about staying in shape in space.
I feel like I've stayed at a pretty high level up here, so it'll be interesting to see what those first couple of days feel like when I'm back on Earth.
Now, after orbiting the Earth nearly 6,000 times, Frank Rubio is one step closer to home. Tom Costello, NBC News.
Welcome home. That's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But your news continues right now.
Good morning, I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Stephen Romo in for Savannah Sellers today. Right now on Morning News Now, back in the U.S., some breaking news overnight. Travis King, the Army private who ran across the border into North Korea before being expelled by that country, well, he's now back on American soil. New video this morning shows King arriving at an Air Force base in San Antonio, Texas. More on his condition in just a moment. Stalemate. No real progress in Washington this morning. Negotiations on Capitol Hill at a standstill to avoid that potentially disastrous shutdown, which could be just days away. We've got the state of play this morning as the clock ticks down to Saturday night's deadline. And this comes as House Republicans shift their attention to trying to impeach President Biden. Developing overnight in custody, Baltimore police have reportedly arrested the man who they believe is connected to the murder of a 26-year-old tech CEO that happened on Monday. What we know about that suspect this morning. And building their wealth. As we mark Hispanic Heritage Month, a new survey from J.P. Morgan spotlights Latino women and just how comfortable they feel about their money. A lot to get to this morning, but we do begin this hour with that fight to keep the federal government open.
Today on Capitol Hill, the Senate is moving forward with a procedural vote on a temporary government funding bill. It would avert a shutdown until at least mid-November, but its path to passing is unclear, as some Senate Republicans say they won't support the bill. For the latest on everything happening on Capitol Hill, let's bring in NBC News congressional correspondent Julie Sirkin. So, Julie, first of all, what can we expect when it comes to this Senate bill and its future? And really, what really matters is what's happening in the House. So what are we hearing from Speaker Kevin McCarthy as he tries to get votes to keep the government running?
Yeah, hey guys, look, the clock is ticking to avoid this government shutdown. The Senate's certainly going to begin taking up that stopgap measure to essentially fund the government through mid-November. It would include some money for Ukraine and disaster relief. But remember, the Ukraine issue is a one brewing among House Republicans because there are many of them who do not believe that any stopgap measure should include Ukraine funding, at least without border security funds. And the bill that House Republicans want to attach to a stopgap funding measure would just not fly in the Senate. So really both sides at an impasse here. Speaker McCarthy talked about this yesterday. Take a listen to what he said.
We're bringing up on Friday ability to fund the government, but at the same time secure our border. So yes, we're doing our job. So what does the president have to do with that? If he wants to sit and hide in the White House and put the government into a shutdown, that's on him. But that's the wrong thing to do.
Here's the thing. The reality is McCarthy still doesn't have the votes among his own members to pass a short-term government funding bill, even with those border security measures attached. I just talked to a handful of Republicans yesterday who confirmed as much to me. So the Senate can begin processing their bill today. Majority Leader Schumer argues that bill would pass with bipartisan support in the House, but McCarthy's not going to put that on the floor, at least for now.
And Julie, McCarthy having so many problems in his own party getting support, the idea of him reaching across the aisle to try to get support from Democrats, where does that stand? Is that at all possible?
Yeah, myself and other reporters on our team, as well as elsewhere, keep asking McCarthy that question, right? Is it time to work across the aisle? The problem for McCarthy is that he's got his gavel to contend with, right? He has a group of members, conservative members, who want to kick him out of the speakership chair. If he starts dealing with Democrats, that will only make that much more likely. But the thing is, Democrats and moderate Republicans, at least, are having private conversations because moderate Republicans are concerned. They're hearing from constituents. I talked to a number of them. They're worried that a government shutdown could not only impact their constituents, could impact the country, but also their prospects on keeping a Republican majority in the House. For now, though, McCarthy not looking to work with Democrats. But here's what Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries had to say about any prospect of that happening last night on MSNBC. Watch.
They are being led by individuals like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is driving the House of Representatives toward a government shutdown that would be reckless and hurt the American people, because we are wasting time doing things that have no shot of becoming law, like cutting the defense secretary's salary to $1 per year, and also engaging in this illegitimate impeachment inquiry.
Yeah, that impeachment inquiry, of course, the first hearing being held today by Republicans just as the clock is ticking on this government shutdown. All of this sort of the perfect storm for Speaker McCarthy. We'll see if he can get out of it, but it's not really looking good.
Yeah, so Julie, what are the things we should be looking out for today and tomorrow? Anything that might tell us there's progress one way or another?
Well, these are really pivotal, crucial days. I'm told the Senate and the House is, of course, planning to stay in until they can figure out a pathway forward. That means through the weekend. And certainly today, the Senate is going to begin to process that short-term government funding bill. It will have the votes expected to pass, even with Ukraine and disaster aid attached to it. Tomorrow, we heard from McCarthy, he plans to put the stopgap measure on the House side on the floor, which is, again, different from the Senate measure. They're not aligned, though. So the problem is the House passes the CR, if they can even get there, right? Because it's not clear at this point they will. The Senate will not take that bill up and vice versa. There is now an idea potentially that the two chambers can come together and do what's known as a conference committee to process all of these measures. But again, what you're seeing on your screen, all of the effects of a government shutdown are very, very likely because there just isn't enough time left.
All right, Julie Sirkin, we know you'll stay on it. Thank you so much.
In California last night, 7 GOP candidates clashed in the second primary debate. But once again, the event took place without the former president and clear frontrunner right now, Donald Trump. The chaotic contest saw each of the candidates battle it out for control of that debate as they push to close the gap on their absent rival. NBC News correspondent Garrett Hake has the latest.
There were two main targets of last night's debate, current President Joe Biden and the former President Donald Trump, neither of them on the debate stage. But with Trump leading this Republican field by more than 40 points in the latest NBC News poll, he cast a very long shadow over that debate stage. Overnight, 7 Republican presidential candidates facing off in a contentious and at times chaotic debate. The frontrunner, former President Trump, skipping the showdown to campaign in Michigan. His rivals Chris Christie and Ron DeSantis repeatedly noting his absence.
Donald Trump is missing in action. He should be on this stage tonight. He owes it to you to defend his record where they added $7.8 trillion to the debt.
Donald, I know you're watching. You can't help yourself. You're not here tonight because you're afraid of being on the stage and defending your record. You keep doing that, no one up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore. We're going to call you Donald Duck.
On abortion, DeSantis demanded Mr. Trump explain his recent comments on Meet the Press, when the former president criticized the Florida governor for signing a 6-week abortion ban.
I think what he did is a terrible thing and a terrible mistake.
To try to say that pro-life protections are somehow a terrible thing. I want him to look into the eyes and tell people who've been fighting this fight for a long time.
Former Vice President Mike Pence taking aim at President Biden for joining striking auto workers in Michigan.
Joe Biden doesn't belong on a picket line. He belongs on the unemployment line.
And Vivek Ramaswamy, who tangled with rivals in the first debate, acknowledging his critics.
You see a young man who's in a bit of a hurry, maybe a little ambitious, bit of a know-it-all, it seems at times.
Still, his rivals pounced. Tim Scott seizing on his business dealings.
I can't imagine how you could say that, knowing that you were just in business with the Chinese Communist Party and the same people that funded Hunter Biden.
And Nikki Haley targeting his use of TikTok.
This is infuriating because TikTok is one of the most dangerous social media apps that we could have. And what you've got, I honestly, every time I hear you, I feel a little bit dumber for what you say.
We asked Ramaswamy about that exchange after the debate. The core argument that Nikki Haley seemed to have against you, the core argument,
she has a grudge against me that I don't have a grudge against her.
It's a one-way grudge. She can't trust you, that voters can't trust you. What do you say to that?
She said I made her dumber. And
well, there was that too.
That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Trump and his campaign have argued it's time to move past these primary debates and focus on rallying Republicans around him to face off against Joe Biden next year. But the Trump campaign also spending some energy last night attacking Nikki Haley, not just longtime foil Ron DeSantis, suggesting they may see someone else in second place soon enough.
All right, Garrett, thank you. Well, the United Auto Workers strike, now nearly 2 weeks old, could expand to even more workers tomorrow. And just 24 hours after President Biden walked the picket line with striking union workers in Michigan, former President Donald Trump also courted auto workers in the state.
Trump, the Republican primary frontrunner, skipped the second GOP debate, as we mentioned, to deliver that primetime address to auto workers at a non-union facility near Detroit. And he did not hold back in targeting his Republican opponents.
You know, we're competing with the job candidates. They're all running for a job. No, they're all job candidates. They want to be in the, they'll do anything. Secretary of something. They even say VP. I don't know. Does anybody see any VP in the group? I don't think so.
NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa joins us now with more. So, Maggie, what else did Trump have to say last night there in Michigan?
Yeah, guys, you know, it's really interesting. His speech kind of went exactly as analysts predicted. He took a little bit of time, as you just showed, to take jabs at his Republican opponents who are across the country on a debate stage. But he largely used the bulk of his more than hour-long speech here in the Detroit area at that non-union plant, by the way, to go in on President Biden, repeatedly blast him and blast the administration's push to shift the industry to electric vehicles, which former President Trump is adamant will kill union jobs. And that is a claim that the White House has repeatedly refuted. In fact, at one point, the former president speaking directly to striking workers, telling them, quote, "I don't think you're picketing for the right thing." Take a listen to more of what he said.
Yesterday, Joe Biden came to Michigan to pose for photos at the picket line. But it's his policies that send Michigan auto workers to the unemployment line. He wants electric vehicle mandates that will spell the death of the U.S. auto industry. You know, it doesn't matter. I watch it. You're negotiating a contract. You're all on picket lines and everything. But it doesn't make a damn bit of difference what you get, because in 2 years, you're all going to be out of business. You're not getting anything.
So we get a big quote that followed that passage, by the way, the president telling those workers, quote, "I don't think you're picketing for the right thing." That being said, it's worth noting who was in the crowd. Our team on the ground clocked roughly 300 people who came into that invite-only event at a non-union plant just north of Detroit. Of those 300, roughly 20% told our team they're actually in the UAW, and only a handful of them said they're actually workers on strike. So that was the audience last night, but obviously the former president, knowing his message would reverberate across the country. Guys.
And Maggie, on that note, how was the former president's message received? What did these union workers say about that visit?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. We're in front of this Ford plant here in Wayne, Michigan. We talked to workers as soon as we got here. They really bristled at that comment that they're not picketing for the right thing. They say they are absolutely picketing for the right things at this moment. Again, we talked about pay, that 40% raise demand, tiers, and long-term job security. That being said, they acknowledge they are afraid about long-term job security. They have those fears tied to electric vehicles. But again, they say they are well aware of what they're picketing for and why they're picketing for it. The UAW itself, the union, not releasing an official response to the former president's speech last night. That's a supporter going by, revving their engine. So again, no comment officially from the UAW, but the president of the union last week blasted the idea that former President Trump would come here to speak at all and said he had no plans to meet with him. So that's where that relationship stands at the moment, guys.
So, Maggie, real quickly, the other relationship is between the union and the big three auto workers. We know the union's threatening more walkouts. Where do things stand with negotiations?
Right. Yeah, so quickly, that's according to a source with the UAW telling NBC News that tomorrow we're going to kind of see a rinse and repeat to some degree of what we saw last week, that at 10 a.m. Eastern time, the union president's going to go on Facebook Live and announce what they call new strike targets, basically another round of facilities where at noon they will call on more workers to walk off the job. We saw the same thing last week when they called on all of those parts distribution facilities with GM and Stellantis to go on strike. This is all, of course, barring what the union calls serious progress in their contract talks. And guys, as we said, last week was specific to GM and Stellantis, but in a possible sign that talks with Ford have stalled again. I asked if this could affect all of the big three, and that source telling me at this point everything is on the table. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, guys.
All right, a lot more to come on that. Maggie Vespa, thank you.
Overnight, the American soldier who fled into North Korea months ago returned home to the United States. Private First Class Travis King landed early this morning in Texas. He was expelled by North Korea, where he was held since July after running across the border. NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky is in San Antonio and joins us with the latest. So, Morgan, what more can you tell us about his return overnight?
Yeah, Joe, good morning. And that more than 6,000-mile return ended just a short time ago here at Joint Base San Antonio. That is where the plane carrying Private Second Class Travis King touched down. We have video that we were able to capture overnight. You can see military personnel escorting that 23-year-old Wisconsin native off the plane. Officials described King as being in both good health and in good spirits, adding he has had a chance to at least speak to a family member over the phone on the way here. But as you mentioned, this all began back in July. That is when U.S. officials say that following assault allegations in South Korea, King booked a group tour of the DMZ, the demilitarized zone separating North and South Korea, then bolted into North Korea, whose officials say that he admitted to doing so because he was, quote, disillusioned with American society. Now, U.S. officials have made it clear there was no trade-off for King. The handoff came courtesy of Swedish officials who escorted King to the Chinese border, where he was placed in military custody. Both U.S. and Chinese officials present for that, a rare moment of cooperation between the two superpowers. China saying they only got involved at the request of the United States and of North Korea, adding that they were adding a humanitarian effort. Joe?
So what comes next for him? Are there charges he could face?
Yeah, very good question, Joe. There could be potential charges. Officials say right now their focus remains on reunited King with family, making sure he is in good health. He will be taken to Brooke Army Medical Center here in San Antonio, where he'll undergo what they call a post-isolation treatment. Charges, though, could be in the future, Joe. Because he was declared absent without leave by the military, he could face potential discipline, including a dishonorable discharge.
And Morgan, I know you mentioned a brief conversation with his family. What more do we know about King's family? Will they be able to see him?
Military officials are remaining tight-lipped on the exact timeline of events now that he's touched down here in San Antonio. But they did stress the need to reunite King with his family. And they also added that he has had a chance to speak with them, at least over the phone. But there is an in-person reunification expected sometime soon. Joe.
All right. Morgan Chesky in San Antonio. Morgan, thank you so much.
We turn now to Baltimore, where police are confirming an arrest in the murder of a 26-year-old Baltimore tech entrepreneur. There had been an all-out manhunt for this. NBC News correspondent Emily Ikeda joins us now with the latest. Good morning, Emily.
Hey there, Stephen. Well, Baltimore residents, I can tell you, are breathing a sigh of relief this morning with this man who officials have described as armed and dangerous now off the streets. Jason Billingsley had been wanted for first-degree murder in the killing of tech CEO Pavel Lapierre, but police now also tying him to other serious crimes that happened in another part of Baltimore just last week.
This morning, after a 3-day manhunt, authorities confirming the arrest of Jason Billingsley, suspected in the killing of tech CEO Pavel Lapierre. The U.S. Marshals telling NBC affiliate WBAL Billingsley was captured in connection to the murder at a train station in Bowie, Maryland.
Our Special Investigations Section and Homicide Unit have been working aggressively to identify the suspect responsible for this tragic incident.
Lapierre was found dead of apparent blunt force injuries Monday in the apartment building where friends say she lived and worked, sparking a massive manhunt for her killer. The mother of the suspect telling NBC News in a telephone interview she had texted with her son. "I told him to turn himself in because they're going to kill him." Also saying that her son showed her a gun Monday, but she believes he's trying to sell it. Authorities not revealing any connection between the 26-year-old rising star entrepreneur and the suspect, but say Billingsley has a lengthy rap sheet, including sex offenses and assault. He was released from jail last October, according to authorities, who are now confirming Billingsley is also wanted in connection with an attempted murder, arson, and rape that occurred in another part of Baltimore just last week.
Hey, Pava, CEO and founder of EcoMap Technologies.
While a student at Johns Hopkins University, LePere founded EcoMap Technologies. Her family, friends, and colleagues gathering for a vigil in her honor Wednesday, saying LePere was compassionate about her community and her work.
She inspired so many people through her brilliance, through her passion, through her zest for life, through her authenticity.
And Baltimore police have yet to reveal a motive in LePere's killing as they continue to comb through all cases since last October when Billingsley was released from jail. We are expecting to learn more about how authorities brought him into custody overnight at a news conference scheduled for 11 a.m. today. Stephen.
All right, Emily, thanks for that update.
Parts of the country in store for some unseasonably warm temps in the next few days.
Meteorologist Angie Lassman is here with our morning News Now weather. Hey, Angie.
Hey there, guys. Yeah, we just can't let go of summer in parts of the country, specifically the middle of the country, where once again today we will head back to the low 90s in places like Tulsa, Amarillo, San Angelo, Dallas, all going to be into the 90s and all running way above normal for this time of year. We expect temperatures to be warm, of course, in parts of the South, but mid 80s is more like it for this time of year in places like Dallas. That warmth continues as we get into tomorrow. Notice it spreads a little farther to the north. We've got 90s expected in Omaha. That temperature is close to 20 degrees above normal for this time of year. St. Louis will head to 87 degrees, and even Nashville will see temperatures into the mid 80s. As we look out towards the northeast, we've kind of got a mild stretch here as we roll into the weekend. Mid 70s for places like Pittsburgh on Saturday, a little bit warmer on Sunday and into the 80s by the time we get back into our next work week. Same kind of trend a little closer to the coast for places like New York. Richmond will hang out into the mid 70s, end up into the low 80s by the time the weekend finishes up. But places like Chicago staying into the low 80s from start to finish for the weekend and even into the upcoming work week beyond that. A big picture look at what's happening across the country. We've still got the cool and unsettled conditions for parts of the Pacific Northwest. Those really warm temperatures I told you about in the middle of the country. Out west, specifically the Southwest, mild conditions for this time of year and a whole lot of sunshine. A great couple of days ahead for you folks there. And we've got some of these storms that we're going to track and have already seen popping up this morning for parts of the Midwest, stretching it out into the Ohio Valley, and those rain showers and thunderstorms that we've been dealing with for the past 24 hours in Florida. And we'll continue seeing those in the picture at least for another day or so, with the flooding concern remaining through the end of the week for our friends there. Here's a look at the weekend ahead. Not much changes as we head into Friday. We do see that rain return for parts of the Northeast, though. That's the one big thing to note. That'll start to happen in places like New York later into the afternoon and evening hours today, overnight, and then you might wake up to a kind of a messy commute for your Saturday morning. So a heads up about that. We'll see that kind of linger for parts of your Saturday. It won't be the excessive kind of gloom that we saw for the earlier part of the week across the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, but some showers with some heavy rain and a flooding potential will be there even into Saturday. A great day for places like Chicago on Saturday. We look down towards the Gulf Coast, temperatures into the 90s still. We keep it really warm over the next couple of days. In Florida, still dealing with the flood risk for your Saturday plans. Just note that if you have any of those outdoor plans, it's going to be a little iffy. The games for the kids and such, and Saturday and Sunday is going to be difficult in Florida because we do have those elevated rain chances. A great day, though, finally back in the picture for Sunday. You can see across the Northeast, plenty of sunshine, guys. This is the day that you want to make all those outdoor plans. We'll see nice temperatures, too, mid 70s, upper 70s, and that warm sunshine continues in the middle of the country. We'll start to see some rain heading towards the Rockies on Sunday, but otherwise, just a heads up about that. When it comes to the rainfall for parts of the Northeast, we will have some spots that could pick up a good amount. 1 to 2 inches is the more likely number, but some pretty high rainfall rates are possible with that low that's going to develop off the southeast coast and kind of meander, hang out right offshore and eventually move to the north. But even still, we could see some spots that pick up about 5 inches. We know how saturated it's been over the past couple of days. I don't have to tell you guys. We've had to walk through it, trudge through it on our commutes. So just the umbrella will be handy, and watch for those flooded roadways and things like that over the next couple of days.
All right. Thanks, Angie. Appreciate it.
Well, coming up on Morning News Now, more bad news for automakers. Kia and Hyundai this morning, why they're recalling more than 3 million vehicles in the wake of a spike in thefts involving their cars.
But first, striking footage from that wedding fire in Iraq that has so far killed more than 90 people. The scenes of horror as the cause of that fire comes to light. That's next. We're back with more details surrounding that horrifying wedding fire in Iraq. A massive fire tore through a wedding hall Tuesday night during a couple's first dance. That fire so far has left more than 90 people dead, and the death toll could rise. NBC News foreign correspondent Matt Bradley has more on what ignited the disaster.
A couple's dream wedding turned into a nightmare. Pyrotechnics igniting the ceiling of the venue during the first dance. The bride and groom fleeing the flames along with some of their guests. But many didn't get out in time. The blaze ripping through the venue, leaving more than 90 people dead and dozens more hurt. This nun, who lives in a monastery nearby, saying bodies are being taken out. Youths were flooding into the hall to get out the largest number of people they could. Emergency crews rushing the injured to a nearby hospital. The wards full of victims. This Iraqi health official saying the majority of the victims were completely burned. Daylight revealing the extent of the destruction. Drone footage shows the wedding hall's roof collapsed. Inside the building, a charred and mangled mess. Mounds of twisted metal rising from the floor of the building. Mama! Mama! This man making an unthinkable discovery in the rubble, the burned remains of his mother's clothing. Officials announcing 9 people who worked at the venue have been arrested in connection to the fire. This investigator saying the pyrotechnics used in the ceremony were not allowed inside or outside the venue. As family and friends carry out the solemn task of mourning the dead, hundreds of people gathering for funeral processions. A day supposed to be filled with celebration turned into tragedy.
And our thanks to Matt Bradley for that report. We should note both the bride and groom did make it out of the wedding venue alive.
A St. Louis woman is living with a disastrous problem. The Social Security Administration has classified her as dead. And despite her attempts to correct that, the issue has plagued her for years now. It's a seemingly simple data error that causes some serious challenges for up to 12,000 Americans every year. NBC News correspondent Valerie Castro explains.
This St. Louis woman is alive and well, but trying to prove that to the Social Security Administration has been her living nightmare.
It's like a haunting.
The agency classified her as dead.
It messed up my whole life.
Carthen tells our St. Louis affiliate's investigative team she's been dealing with the mistake for 16 years. The station covering her struggle back in 2007 when she was a college student.
I got denied my financial aid.
Back then, Carthen shared the paperwork from her lender stating she was deceased.
Now they're saying, prove to us you're not dead.
She says she wasn't able to graduate because of the issue, and she hasn't been able to vote, buy a home, file taxes, or even hold a steady job.
It's just a matter before my Social Security number catch up with me, and then they have to let me go. HR can't process payroll.
Carthen says she was told by the Social Security Administration that her name was mistakenly added to its death master file, essentially ending her existence in 2007. She was given this death erroneous letter to show as proof that she's still alive.
That was supposed to resolve it, and I was supposed to give it to all my creditors, but by that time I had cars repossessed, I got put out my home, I couldn't explain it. It was too late. Contracts were invalid. It still messed up my credit.
Carthen eventually managed to get a new Social Security number and even changed her legal name, adding characters like a hyphen in 2021.
The judge honored it. Social Security honored it. And that's what my Social Security card showed.
But she says the new number is still connected to the old.
The old one that's classified as dead with the new one is cross-referenced. So anytime that I'm trying to use it in commerce, trying to buy a home or what have you, it's going to come back denied and rejected.
So Carthen is still the walking dead and walking around with a briefcase full of documents to prove her identity.
And now I keep my birth certificate and all these things with me because I don't never know.
A spokesperson for the SSA telling our local station they can't discuss individual cases due to privacy laws, adding approximately 3 million deaths are reported to the Social Security Administration each year, and our records are highly accurate. Of these millions of death reports we receive each year, less than 1/3 of 1% are subsequently corrected. A 2019 report from the Social Security Advisory Board says between 7,000 and 12,000 people are erroneously recorded as dead every year by the SSA. Carthen says she submitted numerous documents to the SSA, her doctor even confirming she is most definitely alive, and she also filed a federal lawsuit. Nothing has worked.
We're sorry, we apologize, but government has sovereign immunity. There's nothing we can do.
All she wants is to be resurrected.
It's just I need to get before Congress to share what has happened, the detriment that it has caused, and the resolution, how it can be fixed.
Wow, so frustrating. Our thanks to Valerie Castro for that report. Madeline says that she's tried everything, even writing the last 4 presidents in the White House asking for help, but it's just become a finger-pointing game between agencies. The Social Security Administration says if a person suspects they have been incorrectly declared dead, they need to head to their local Social Security office as soon as possible with an original form of ID.
Wow, what a headache there. All right, coming up, the disturbing rise of retail theft across the country. It's forcing many store owners to change the way they do business.
Yeah, how they say they're working to stay safe as this troubling trend becomes more and more violent. That's next. Stay with us.
We're back now with a growing crisis across the country. Many retail stores are seeing a spike in retail crime, which is causing some businesses to shut down. As NBC News correspondent Jacob Soboroff explains, a new report shows criminals are becoming more bold in public.
Hey there. Yeah, we all saw those striking images of stores being looted in Philadelphia this week, and it is part of a larger trend. Theft has impacted retailer margins and profitability to the tune of $112 billion last year. That's according to a new industry survey. But the violence associated with retail theft is the biggest concern. Businesses of all sizes are now struggling to stay safe and keep their doors open amid the nationwide crime spree. Across the country, cities big and small are seeing a rise in retail crime. But it's the growing dangers associated with those thefts that are causing concern.
But what we're seeing are these large-scale, open and brazen events of theft.
Shocking videos like these show increasingly violent criminal acts, leaving some business owners and their employees worried for their safety. While the financial hits from retail theft are only up slightly from last year, the heightened levels and threat of violence associated with these crimes are getting worse. A major study from the National Retail Federation found 81% of retailers reported that organized retail criminals had grown more violent. And even 88% say even shoplifters are more aggressive and violent. It has some owners changing the way they're doing business.
I have more cameras than I ever had. I have a staff person whose job is to walk around. My staff, I had to train them up more to understand what they should and should not do.
Retailers are taking a hit at a time when they're already having a hard time filling open positions, with the holiday shopping season fast approaching.
I've had 2 people quit because they're like, you know what, I'm not doing this. I am not doing this.
Oakland is among those cities most affected by organized retail crime. The problems former Oakland Police Chief Lerone Armstrong sees in his own backyard now spreading across the country.
I think it's a combination of lack of enforcement, not enough resources, and then not strong enough prosecution.
I've seen it happen. I've seen people run out with products and security just kind of say, hey, and that's all they can really do.
Though these brazen thefts seem to be happening more and more, law enforcement and retail experts say turning the tide on the nationwide crime spree is possible.
We have to ask that states and local communities look at their current laws related to property theft and larcenies and make sure that they're strong enough to put consequences behind the criminal acts.
The rise in violent crimes is forcing some stores to make the decision to close, and, of course, that can have a devastating impact on the surrounding neighborhoods and people who rely on their services. But Deborah, the woman we spoke to and owns 2 boutiques here in Manhattan, told us closing her doors would mean the criminals win, and she's not going to let that happen. Back to you.
All right, Jacob, thank you so much.
Car makers Kia and Hyundai have issued a massive recall over concerns that some vehicles can randomly burst into flames. Nearly 3.4 million cars are affected by the recall, and they're telling owners of those models to park them outside and far from any flammable structures until repairs can be made. The issue has to do with a faulty module and can leak brake fluid and cause an electrical short. This is just the latest in a string of recalls amid a spike in thefts plaguing the 2 automakers, which are owned by the same parent company. NBC's Aaron Gilchrist has more.
It's the car theft wave sweeping the nation, and big cities are struggling to keep up. The numbers are shocking. In Chicago, for example, thieves stole only 500 Kias and Hyundais in the first half of 2022. But by the end of that year, that number had ballooned to more than 8,300. And this year is on track to be even worse, with car thefts already surpassing 21,000, up 86% year to date. The city says Kias and Hyundais make up more than half. And it's not just Chicago, of course. Cities like Cleveland, St. Louis, and Baltimore have seen a surge, too.
Kia boys, stolen car haul.
It all started in 2021 when a viral TikTok trend called #KiaBoys began spreading across social media. It instructed would-be car thieves on how to quickly hotwire certain Kia models that lacked engine immobilizers.
Pull it down and then break it down.
This doesn't work with most cars. In fact, 96% of other vehicles sold in the U.S. shipped with immobilizers in 2015. But they're not required, and only about a quarter of Kias and Hyundais had the protection. That's why last month, Chicago joined several other American cities in suing the automakers, alleging they've contributed to a major increase in crime. Kia has said the suits are without merit, while Hyundai has said all its cars meet government anti-theft requirements. In light of the disturbing streak, Kia and Hyundai attempted a fix, offering a free software update available at dealerships and at mass giveaway events. The update requires the car's key to be in the ignition to start, but there have been reports of cars being stolen even after they got the update. One victim's father telling our Washington affiliate,
"I would love to find out if the program was actually put in or the program failed."
When asked for comment, Hyundai responded by saying, "Our dealers across the country are maximizing the number of anti-theft software installations." Kia told NBC Washington that it's confident the software update works as intended. The car makers built their reputations advertising affordable cars for the average consumer.
I'll be there in 30 minutes.
That allowed the pair, which are owned by the same South Korean conglomerate, to become the third largest manufacturer in the world at one point. But even though some security systems may work, thieves still target the cars, which could mean a smashed window and an abandoned car when realizing it can't be hacked for a joyride, underscoring just how big of a challenge Kia and Hyundai face.
Our thanks to Aaron Gilchrist for that story. For their part, Kia and Hyundai say the lawsuits don't have any merit.
Breaking news just in. NBC News has learned that actor Michael Gambon, known for playing Professor Albus Dumbledore in the Harry Potter movie series, has died. Gambon's family confirmed his death in a statement. They say he died peacefully in the hospital following a bout of pneumonia. His family has requested privacy at this time and thanked fans for their messages of love and support. Michael Gambon was 82 years old.
Well, still to come this morning, confidence is key, especially when it comes to your money.
After the break, as Hispanic Heritage Month rolls on, we've got a new survey that shines a light on just how comfortable Latino women feel about their finances. That's next on Morning News Now. September is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, and this morning we're sharing the story of a young woman from Chicago with dreams of having a family. She decided to freeze her eggs, and in the process, doctors made a surprising discovery, a cancer diagnosis. She's telling her story in the hopes it will help other women realize they're not alone. Today, anchor Savannah Guthrie has her story.
Morgan Belloc knew she wanted to be a mom one day, but the timing wasn't right for the 34-year-old public relations executive from Chicago. So she decided to freeze her eggs, hoping to have a baby further down the road.
I always had wanted to be a mom. Unfortunately, as women, we just know there are no guarantees, and I really had a gut feeling. I just knew in my gut this was something I had to do.
Morgan arrived for her first egg freezing appointment in the summer of 2017.
At that first appointment, I had an ultrasound, which revealed a pretty significant cyst on my right ovary. They assured me it was benign, 99% chance. So the plan was to pause egg freezing for the time being.
The cyst refused to just go away, so doctors operated to remove it. During that surgery, they discovered what Morgan never could have imagined.
They found another tumor hiding behind the one that they were removing, and that one was a cancerous tumor. I remember seeing the fear in my doctors' faces, and I knew it was a big deal. Immature teratoma, stage 1 ovarian cancer.
Morgan never experienced any symptoms and had no family history of ovarian cancer. There were no warning signs. She's among the nearly 20,000 women in this country diagnosed with ovarian cancer every year. The disease spreads quickly and aggressively, and many women aren't diagnosed until stage 3 or stage 4. Morgan's life became an urgent fight against cancer, and just weeks after her diagnosis, she was back in surgery.
I had to remove my right ovary entirely, but after that, I was given a clean bill of health, which meant I'd have to be very closely monitored for about 5 years.
I was told that I was cancer-free.
Now, nearly 6 years cancer-free, Morgan is in complete remission.
It's crazy to think that I just got really lucky and that there was a very real chance that I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't have gone into that doctor's appointment.
As soon as doctors cleared her, Morgan returned to her original goal of freezing her eggs, completing 2 cycles in 2018. And a happy new beginning. She married her husband, Derek, 2 years ago, both eager to start a family. Morgan's life saved in her courageous quest to have another.
Our thanks to Savannah Guthrie for that report. Morgan says that she and her husband, Derek, are now in the middle of IVF treatments. They're hoping to welcome a baby very soon.
Financial headlines now. After some high-profile backlash, Delta is rethinking changes made to its loyalty program.
CNBC's Silvana Henao joins us with that and other money news. Silvana, good morning.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Stephen. Yeah, so listen to this. Delta Airlines is rethinking the changes it recently made to its loyalty program. Delta's CEO says the moves went too far in addressing a surge in elite frequent flyers. Delta had said that starting in 2025, it would base elite status purely on spending versus counting flights and would limit access to its airport lounges to holders of Delta credit cards. The changes were sharply criticized by loyalty members on social media, with some vowing to take their business elsewhere. Some owners of the new iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max are complaining the devices are getting too hot while they're being used or during charging. Customers on social media and Apple online forums say the back of the phone becomes too hot to touch while gaming or during a phone call or a FaceTime video chat. Reports say Apple has referred some people to an old support article. The company hasn't commented. The iPhone accounts for about half of Apple's revenue, and new models are highly scrutinized for any issues. And Disney Plus is joining Netflix in cracking down on password sharing. Disney started emailing subscribers in Canada this week about changes to the service agreement, including, quote, restrictions on account sharing. Just like Netflix, Disney Plus customers may not share their account outside their primary household. The changes come as the streaming service expands the rollout of its cheaper ad-supported tier to Canada. No word on whether Disney will crack down on password sharing in the U.S. Gonna go out there and say it's probably coming here too.
And many platforms, I'm guessing, too, yeah.
Yeah, a lot more to come on that. My in-laws are probably going to kick me off any minute. Silvana, thanks so much.
You got it.
It is Hispanic Heritage Month, and this morning we're talking about the strides being made to help close the wealth gap.
Yeah, a new survey from J.P. Morgan Wealth Management revealed that Hispanic and Latino women are becoming more confident when it comes to their finances. 52% of Hispanic and Latino women investors saying they feel more knowledgeable about their investments and retirement planning than they did just 5 years ago.
Let's bring in Veronica Navarro. She is the head of communications at J.P. Morgan Wealth Management. Good to have you with us. So let's talk more about the study's findings. Why is it more Hispanic and Latino women are feeling more confident? And what are we seeing with the men? Is it different?
We think men is very similar trend than women. We think it's easier to find financial information now than it's ever been. Like you can go and find the meaning of a 401k, like we have Investopedia. With JP Morgan, we have The Know. It's like a content hub where simplify financial terms very easily. We also think democratizing finances, that you can trade online right now with no commission. So people can start investing for no money, which is something that they could not do like a decade ago. So we think investing and money are more popular or more recurrent conversations than they were a few years ago, and that is helping. The industry is also on board. We need to know to be able to act, but knowing is not enough. And we also, you just said, it's more than half of women. It's barely half of women. So we really need to do a lot more.
Those numbers need to go even higher.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, and on that subject, despite the gains that we're seeing among Latinas, there is still a big disparity when it comes to their white peers. So what are the barriers that are left here in this area, and how do you go about overcoming them?
I want to talk about my personal experience. I'm Hispanic. I'm originally from Spain. We did not talk about money. Money was like a banned topic in my house. And not only that, for my mom, investing was very risky. She always said, like, no, you don't invest. And not only that, she also used to say, like, why are you saving for retirement? You might be dead tomorrow. So all of that, like, misconceptions, like, trickled down to me to the point where I started working. And I started working in a foreign company. It was in the UK, and they had a 401k. And they were doing a matching program. I was not even matching the program because I didn't understand the concept. So those concepts need to start from the dinner table. Like, I don't know how it is in your house, but it is very
A lot of families
important.
don't talk about money, exactly. We have about 30 seconds here, but what role does generational wealth play in all of this?
Yeah, generational wealth is the way that we explain it is like if you're in a baseball game, you're going to start in first base, second base, or third base. What are you going to do for the generation behind you? You want them to start in first base, second base, or third base. Do that for them.
That's a great way to analyze it, to think of it that way. You want to get them started as close to home as humanly possible, right?
That's right.
All right. Veronica Navarro, thank you so much. Good to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Well, coming up this morning, are you ready for it? We've got so much more on the story that America can just not look away from.
Yeah, that rumored romance between Taylor Swift and Chief star Travis Kelce. It's heating up this morning with Kelce's own take on that whirlwind weekend. I've got it all covered after this.
Barry Manilow has broken a Las Vegas record that had been held by Elvis for more than 45 years. The Copacabana singer has performed 637 shows at the Westgate Resort and Casino. That beats Elvis Presley's residency at the same venue, which lasted from 1969 to 1976. Manilow, who turned 80 in June, was presented with a key to the Las Vegas Strip as he played his 637th show over the weekend. He wore a red jacket from Presley's 1977 tour and performed covers of Hound Dog and Can't Help Falling in Love. The singer seems to have no plans to stop performing at the Westgate. He recently announced dates for 2024.
So cool. That generation, you look at him, you look at Wayne Newton, they just keep on performing.
And their fashion is on point.
Exactly, as always. All right. We've got new details on the story that broke the internet this week. Kansas City Chiefs star Travis Kelce is opening up about Sunday's game, which featured a guest appearance by Taylor Swift, fueling those dating rumors. Travis Kelce and his brother, Eagle star Jason, have a really popular weekly podcast called New Heights. Well, this week it was really, really popular thanks to a new fan base, Swifties, who helped push the podcast past 1 million subscribers and who eagerly watched Wednesday's episode, which so far has more than 1.5 million views on YouTube. It's every Swiftie's wildest dream to know more about Trailer or Swelsey, whatever you want to call them. And now we're finally hearing from Travis Kelce.
How's it feel that Taylor Swift has finally put you on the map?
Shout out to Taylor for pulling up.
We're getting a look at Kelce and Taylor Swift getting close Sunday night in a new photo obtained by TMZ. They were at a party after the Chiefs game where Swift made that high-profile appearance.
And then we just slid off in the getaway car at the end.
Kelce shared a few more new details yesterday with his brother, Eagles player Jason, on their podcast.
This might be an all-timer of an episode.
I wonder why.
The Kelces were coy as they kicked off this week's episode of New Heights. You had to wait 32 minutes, 47 seconds before their football-focused conversation was intercepted.
I'm enjoying life, and I sure as hell enjoyed this weekend.
Kelce reflecting on the moments that broke the internet Sunday.
Everybody in the suite had nothing but great things to say about it. To see the slow motion chest bumps, to see the high fives with mom, to see how, Chiefs Kingdom was all excited that she was there.
The brothers also acknowledged the new attention with a segment they call No Dumb Questions, this time directed at Swifties.
What's a field goal? Do you throw the ball or run with it?
Me personally, I run with it.
What is a down? A down is an attempt to get 10 yards.
For fans of both football and Swift, the podcast answered some questions, but not all.
I'd always like to know what they talked about. How was dinner? How's the party?
Kelce made it clear moving forward, his comments will be focused on football.
What's real is that, it is my personal life, and I want to respect both of our lives.
Even as his teammates block a blitz of Swift questions.
I met her. She's really cool, good people, but
like Trav said, man, I'm going to let them have their privacy and just keep it moving.
A source close to the situation tells NBC News Swift and Kelsey are just getting to know each other, and it's not the first time they've hung out. They met up a little over a month ago in New York. Of course, we're waiting to see if they have another meeting here this upcoming Sunday night with the Chiefs playing the Jets in New Jersey. StubHub says since Sunday, ticket sales for that game up 175%. The Sunday night game already highly watched. That would just take it into the stratosphere.
The Swifties, the power of the Swifties,
no
can't
kidding.
beat it.
Exactly. Yeah. That does it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But your news continues right now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.